Dear students, today we will discuss about the seed sampling in the course principles of seed technology, which has been already offered, and we are doing already in taking different classes for seed sampling on seed technology and seed technology. Seed sampling is one of the important practice being utilized in case of seed testing. Because we know very well that the seed testing is also a very important thing to maintain the quality of seeds. And before going to the seed testing, the samples must be taken out. So seed sampling is very much important, and we can define seed sampling as if we think understand better, that the cooking of rice in kitchen, or you might have seen in your house, in your kitchen, that your mummy is taking out some of the samples of rice from the utensils, and which is representative of whole rice in the utensils. And thereafter, after taking that, they conclude that the rice has been cooked already. So similarly, in this case of seed sampling, we take a small quantity of seeds, that these representative samples from the seed lot. And here one thing, we are just in case of that cooking rice is the utensil, is your lot. But here in case of seed sampling, we consider seed lot as a source material. So seed lot, what is the seed lot? Seed lots, we can say that the physically identifiable quantity of seeds which are being kept under either in bulk or in bag. We consider it, we call it as the seed lot. It is very important, and the objective of seed sampling is first to draw a representative samples from the seed lots which contain must be proper and different proportions. Those seed samples are prepared with the rules prescribed by the ISTA, International Seed Testing Association, according to in the year 1985. So there is the principles required. There is certain principles in seed sampling. The first and foremost principles of seed sampling is that the seed lot from where we have to sample out, we have to take out the representative sample, must be homogeneous, should not be heterogeneous. We must not note this, that it must be, the seed lot must be homogeneous. It means that the seeds, the things which are present in the seed lot is in same proportion, equal proportions from the beginning to that of the end. Second thing, that the seed samples should be properly sealed. Otherwise, what happened? That before, if it is not properly sealed, the moisture content will evaporate, and that's why the moisture percentage is not estimated rightly. Third principle is that the prescribed seed lot should not be exceeded as per the different size of seeds. For example, in case of small and medium size of seeds, the seed lot size should not be more than 10,000 kg, whereas in case of big size of seeds, we already know that there are a lot of variations present in the species to species in the seed size. So seed lot size should not be more than 20,000 in case of big size seeds. The exceptions are there, that in case of maize, we can the seed lot should go up to 40,000 kg. So the fourth principles are the samples drawn must be identification
to that of the corresponding to seed lot certificates. The whatever samples taken from the seed lot must be properly connected. They linked it with the seed lot certificates. Otherwise, it is very difficult to recognize the types of the seed samples from where it has been drawn. Now, next, the type of seed samples. Drawing of seed samples is one thing, but this drawing of the seed samples will be utilized in case of seed testing laboratory. On that very aspects, there are different types of seed samples. For the first and foremost seed samples are the primary seed samples. We can understand here that in better way that if the seed lot is either stored in bulk or in case of barrel. If the seeds are stored in bulk, either in bulks or in a bag, we can store the seeds in two things. Either from the bulk seed are bulk in this or stored from the bag. So primary samples, the first and foremost thing is that the primary samples. What are those? The first and foremost samples taken out from the seed lots is considered to be as the primary samples. For example, if it is bulk, the seed samples are bulk seeds are stored in bulk. We can take some quantity from here, and write this depends. The number of primary samples depends upon the seed lot size, that how many numbers we have to take the primary seed samples from these stored things like bulk seeds, or similarly from if it is stored in bulk, it is in bag, we can take out the small seeds, representative seeds from these portions of the bag. These are considered as the primary samples, primary seed samples. We can say that primary seed samples. These all are the primary seed samples. Okay? I think you can understand that what is the primary seed? First, the initial samples being taken from the seed lot is considered as the primary seed samples. Now, next one is that the composite samples. These primary samples, we can define the composite samples that when these all primary seed samples taken from the seed sources are mixed together. These are primary seed samples. When these are mixed together, it is considered as the composite samples. As literally we can understand better way that the composite, it means mixing of primary samples is called as the composite samples. So thereafter, the next one is that so we can understand very well that composite samples are those samples which are mixed which are prepared after mixing of the primary samples, the composite samples. Now, the next one is that the submitted samples. Submitted samples, actually, these submitted samples are being submitted, as literally it is clear that submitted, it means it has to be submitted to that of the seed testing laboratory. So it's called as the submitted seed samples. In case of submitted seed samples, we can define it as the reduced representative of the composite samples is called as the submitted samples, and being submitted to the seed testing laboratory, it's called as the submitted samples. It means that if it is the composite samples, it has to be reduced to prepare the submitted samples. It means the whole quantity, the whole composite samples are being reduced to prepare the submitted samples, and there are different methods of reducing, and we should must know that the composite samples, before reducing of this, must be properly mixed. Must be the samples, composite samples must be homogeneous. It means that it is properly mixed. We can understand the submitted samples. Now, submitted samples, once submitted to the seed testing laboratory, the different seed test is to be carried out in the seed testing laboratory, and for each and every test there is requirement of seed samples, and that seeds are called as the working samples. It means working. Literally, you can understand better way that the working samples means the seed samples for different seed testing utilized is called as the working seed samples. So again, these submitted seed samples are being reduced to prepare the working samples. So we can understand, here must note that the size of submitted samples and the working samples. Primary samples, the number of, we have to note that, the number of primary samples, and in case of submitted samples, the size of submitted samples as well as the size of working samples is varied with crop to crop. So until unless we reduce whatever the required quantity, required size of working samples are they are required, and so that the submitted samples are being reduced. Similarly, the submitted samples also. Now, next thing is the sampling intensity. What we are discussing about the primary samples. That the question arises that how many primary samples we should take from the seed lot. It's a question. It's a simple question. So it's called as the sampling intensity. It means we know very well that the cropping intensity. What does it mean? It means that the number of crops being taken from unit area in unit time. It is called as the cropping intensity. Similarly, the seeds and the sampling intensity is the minimum number of primary samples being taken from the respective seed lot is called as the sampling intensity. When seeds are stored, we already told that either seeds will be stored in bulk or in bag. So accordingly, as per their convenience, the seed lot, the sampling of primary samples varied. When seeds are being stored in bulk, the sampling intensity varied with the seed lot size. For example, if the seed lot size is more than 50 kg, then minimum of 3 primary samples has to be taken. The less than 50 kg, if the seed lot size is less than 50 kg, so minimum of 3 primary samples has to be taken from the seed lots. Similarly, if the seed lot size is 51 to 500 kg, the minimum of 5 primary samples required to be taken from the seed lots. It depends upon the seed lot size. If it is 501 to 3000 kg, that 1 primary samples should be taken, has to be taken from 300 kg for each 300 kg, but it should not be less than 5 primary samples. Here, we must know, we should understand better that if it is 501, the seed lot size is 501 to that of the 3000 kg. So if the seed samples, the seed lot size is 700 kg, 700 kg, then what we do? In that case, as per the principles, we have to take each samples from 300 kg, one primary samples from 300 kg. So we can receive 300 plus 300 plus 100. So we can say that the one primary samples, and you can say that one we may also take. So that is the 3 primary samples will be taken from the 700 kg of seed lot. But no. Here the next condition is that the minimum of 5 primary samples has to be taken out from the 700 kg. If the seed lot size is 700 kg, seed lot size, if it is seed lot size 700 kg, we can say that the first condition is that one primary sample has to be taken from each 300 kg of seeds. So it can be partitioned 300 kg plus 300 kg plus 100 kg. So accordingly, as the first condition applied, it should be one primary samples, one primary samples, and one primary. It means total of 3 primary samples will be taken. But no, the second condition subjected implied for this is the minimum of 5 primary samples has to be taken. So we can understand better way? No, very well. That now next one is that if it is 3001 to 20,000 kg of seed lot size are there, so in that case, one primary samples for each 500 kg has to be taken, but it should not be less than 10 primary samples. Understand? In the same manner what I discussed in this case. Here also the minimum of 10 primary samples has to be taken if the seed lot size ranged from 3001 to 20,000 kg, and if the seed lot size is more than 20,000 kg, so in that case we have to take one primary samples from each 700 kg of seed lot, 700 kg of seed lot, but the second condition is that it should not be a minimum of 40 primary samples has to be taken. So this is all about the seed sampling, seeds intensity, the primary samples taken out, drawn out from the seed lot which are stored in pulp. But on the other hand, if it is stored in bag or in container, in that case up to 5 container we have to take minimum of 5 primary samples. Generally the one container represents the 100 kg of seeds. So in that way the 500 kg seed lots, up to 5 container it is stored, and the seed lot is stored in 5 container, then we have to sample each container and draw a minimum of 5 primary samples. If it is stored, seed lots are stored in from 6 to 30 container, so sample one container in every 3 container, one samples from every 3 container, but it should not be less than 5 primary samples. Similarly, 31 to 400 container, it is sample 1 in every 5 container. From 5 container, we can take out 1 primary samples, but it should not be less than 10 primary samples. And lastly, if it is more than 400 containers, then in that case, sampling is done at every 7 container, but not less than that of the 80 primary samples. The minimum of 80 primary samples has to be taken. Now, next thing which are very much essential to know in this case, that the samples are how samples will be taken from the seed lots. So the next thing, the equipments being used in the taking of the representative samples, the primary samples. So the different equipments are used for seed sampling, and first one is that the stick or sleeve trials. Actually, this is a type of this is an equipment which are being used to sample from the seed lots, and it is a hollow brass tube enclosed by closely fitted outer sleeve and pointed solid end. It is brass tube, hollow brass tube, and closely fitted. Suppose this is the we will show you in the next slide that if it is like this, so this one, and that closely fitted tube is also there, and there is one handle, and handles are there, and it is there are compartments. The compartments are in this hollow drives. So similarly, this one is also open. This outer cover, outer sleeves has also open and respective slots. This will say is the slots, the openings. The design with varying length, it is designed. Sleeve and stick sleeves are designed at varying at different lengths. For example, for cereals, in case of cereals, the total 76 centimeter long and 2.5 centimeters outer diameter with 6 slots are recommended for sampling the seeds from the seed lots. Second one is the Norway trial. It is a pointed tube made up of 50 centimeter long and which includes the handle and 6 centimeter of the points. It is oval hole present near the pointed end. The pointed end at the bottom is oval type, oval shape and hole are there. So internal diameter varied with, similarly in this case of Norway trials, internal diameter varied with crop to crop, and in case of cereals, the 14 millimeter and in clovers 10 millimeter are recommended. It is suitable for the seed stored in bag, not in bulk. This Norway triad is suitable for drawing seed samples from the seed lot which are stored in bag, not in bulk. The third one is the bin samples. Similar to the sleeve triad, except length with respect to length and diameter, the bin triad are similar to that of us. In this case, the length of bin samples is 160 centimeter and diameter 3.8 centimeter with 6 to 9 slots. It means that the size of the seed triad are little bit longer than that of the stick and sleeve triads, and here also the seed slot, the compartment what we told here that it is varied. It ranges from the seed 6 to 9. You can see here that the different different instruments for taking seed samples, the stick and sleeve triads, the bins, Norway triads, etc. These are also some of the seeds triads. Now, next things, if primary samples have been taken or if been taken, we know that the primary samples are taken, or then it is mixed together to form the composite samples. Mixing is, there is no requirement of the mixing the equipments. But if we have to prepare the next samples, that is submitted samples and the working samples, we have to use some equipments, and for this case, working samples or submitted samples, the composite sample has to be reduced to that to prepare the submitted samples, and the submitted samples has to be reduced to that to prepare the working samples. So there are different methods of reduction. There are different methods of reduction of these seed samples, and the first and foremost is the mechanical divider methods, in which we use the Boyer divider, the gamete divider, and rifle soil dividers. These are, we can see here that the different types of different seed dividers which are being used in the reduction of the seed samples. The first one is that the Boyer divider. Where in case of Boyer divider, it is just a you can see here that it works on the conical force. There are pinpoint here, and there the two slots are there, and if the one hopper is at the above, you can, as we see here, that at the top there is hopper, and in which seeds has to be poured, and thereafter the knob is being opened. When this knob is being opened, the seeds are dropped on a single point, and from there this is reduced, this is just divided in the two different seed slots, and we collect from these seed samples. So it is also being used, this equipment may be utilized in homogenizing the seed samples, the proper homogeneous. Again, when this two we get the seed samples in these two seed slots, then again this is poured, and again so homogeneous. To homogenize the seed samples, we just use this equipment, and after that proper homogenization, we when we get the seeds in two different seed pots, the one is removed and another one is taken, considered. So again, this is poured and divided into different equal parts. So again, one removed and one is considered. So it is done, this practice is being done, this practice is done up to the desired quantity of submitted samples or the working samples are being registered or prepared, you can say. The second one is that the gamete divider. In case of gamete divider, as in case of Boyer divider, we discussed that it works on the conical force, but here it works on the centrifugal force. Similarly, here in case of gamete divider also, the upper part is the hopper, seed hoppers, where we pour the seeds, and then we just open the knob, and on the motor, then the seeds are being just centrifugal force, just circulating this way, and then the seeds are distributed in two different seed slots, and we can remove one seed slots and consider one seed box for the preparation of this submitted samples or the working samples till the desired size of submitted samples or the working samples is prepared. The third one is the soil dividers, rifle dividers, you can see here. This is the work on the same way, but it is used for the purpose of those crops which are chaffy in nature. These all are the mechanical methods of seed divider. Now, second one is that the modified halving methods of seed divisions. In this case, the apparatus consists of a tray, and when it is fitted in grain and equal size cubicle. So, in this case, we suppose this is a tray, and the cubical shape of cup is fitted either in a line. So, the principles of this modified halving seed methods, that the cubical cups are arranged in lines and alternate cups are opened at both the ends. Alternates alternate cups are opened at both ends like this. So it is opened, it is opened, it is closed. It is closed. So when after preliminary mixing of seed, it is poured heavily on the seed grain. So what happens in the seed samples which are poured in this, it will remain in this, and in this cup, if it is poured, the seeds will be just left on the tray. So alternate cups which are open, the seeds from that cup will be left on the tray, and we have to take either of these two, or we can say that either we can take the seed samples from the cups which are closed at the bottom, or the seed samples which are being left out at the seed tray. So this is the modified halving methods of seed samplings. The next one is that the random cup methods. This is a method suitable for seed requiring working samples up to 10 gram of the seeds. Say 10 gram of the seed samples, provided that they are not extremely chaffy and do not bounce or roll. For example, in case of this has seeds. Here, 6 to 8 small cups are placed at random on a tray after the preliminary mixing. Similarly, as in case of this modified halving methods, the random cup method, in the case of random cup methods, we just arrange the cups, 6 to 8 cups, or on a tray. Like this, we can arrange 8 to 10, we can say, depending on the size, seed size, and then after properly mixings of preliminary mixing of the seeds, poured uniformly on the seed over the tray, and the seeds fall into the cup, taken as the working samples. So, or submitted samples until and this. The next one is the spoon methods of the fourth methods of reducing the getting the working samples are the spoon methods of seed samplings. In that case, we use a spatula and a spoon. We use the spatula and a spoon having flattened end. The spoon must be not oval shape, not like this, but it should be flattened end. The edge of this spoon should be flattened, and we use the spatula. So, and if it is taken from the seeds which are made in a pie. The seeds are made as a pie here, like this. The seeds are stored in this way. We can just make this pile, and thereafter the spatula in one hand and the spoon in another hand, we can take the primary samples from different portions, from either from here or here or here or here or here. We can take this from the different seed samples from the different portions. Sufficient portion of seeds are being taken to estimate the working samples, approximately but not less than the required size of primary samples, and it is being used of the seed size which are very much small. The precautions in seed samplings, must be some precautions which have to be maintained. The submitted sample should not be large enough the sampling should not be done from the heterogeneous seed lot. As we already told you in case of while we we are discussing with the principles of seed sampling, that the sampling seed sample, the seed lot should not be heterogeneous, must be homogeneous. So the sampling should only be done in from the homogeneous seed lot. Seed lot size should not exceed to that of the recommended limit. Small and medium sized seeds, the 10,000 kg seed lots are recommended, whereas in case of big size seeds, 20,000 kg of seed lot size are recommended. The reduction should be done by carefully splitting. Must be taken. The precautions must be taken that the proper splitting should be done while reduction of the seeds for getting the submitted samples and the working samples. The care must be taken for prescribed selection intensity. Here, must be taken care of the prescribed number of primary samples, the sampling intensities. But I earlier told that the minimum of 3 primary samples or 5 primary samples, 3 primary samples is be taken, while it is the seed lot size depending upon the different seed lot size, the number of primary samples has already been prescribed. Treated seeds must be marked to avoid the health hazards. If it is not properly marked, the officials, the technicals will handle in casually, and thereafter it may take some health hazards. It may happen. The health hazards may be happen. So it must be just informed in the seed levels. A storage of seed samples is also very much important. Though the seeds samples are tested at the earliest, not very longer time it has to be stored. So depending upon you can say that the size, or you can say that the number of seed samples being stored, it is required to be stored for 1 year. In that case, the seed samples received in the laboratory must be tested soon, as we told earlier that tested for soon to avoid the losses in moisture and humidity. If necessary, it has to be kept in cool and well ventilated room. Storage in ideal condition after testing for 1 year as a safeguard. 1 year has to be 1 year is required to store the seeds by 1 year as a safeguard. Here we must understand properly that while it is stored for a safeguard. So if we have tested the seeds from respective seed samples, the results are being released to the concerned persons from where the seed lot has been received, seed samples were received, and if there is any objections to that of the counterpart, they again come to the seed testing laboratory and again apply for retesting. So in that case, if the seed samples are not stored as a safeguard, it is not possible to again retest and give the result of the seed testing. So it is very much important to store the seed for 1 year as a safeguard. The protection against insect rodent is very much essential to store properly the seed samples. These are some of the seed lot size prescribed for different crops depending on the crops, and against these seed lots, the size of submitted samples or working samples as just mentioned in the slides. For example, in case of paddy, the seed lot size will be the 20,000 kg and the submitted sample size, seed samples will be 400 grams and the working samples would be the 40 grams only. So you can see here that how much the samples is to be reduced from seed lot, primary samples, composite samples to that of the submitted samples and then the working samples. Similarly, in case of wheat, the seed lot size 1000 gram would be required for as submitted samples, and 120 grams for the working samples. Here we must consider the decimal points. How many decimal points we have to take? So if the working sample size is less than 1 gram, so in that case we go for 4 decimal points. After decimals, we have to go for the 4 decimals. But in case of as the seed samples, working samples will be increased, it will be the decimals points will be decreased. So this all about the seed samplings. Thank you.